Start the recording. Start the stream. And go live. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also like to welcome my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. It's nice to be back, but at the same time, it was also nice to kind of have a week off as we got to spend some time with our cousins down in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys got to have some fun, got some time to unplug, unwind, and, just have a good old time.
Yeah, and nice job on the show. I did get a
Appreciate it.
chance to listen to the entire show in its entirety while I was mowing my lawn on Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
Which I needed to do because it's been raining here in the Quad Cities like every single day since then,
Yeah,
since I mowed the lawn.
it's been raining here like crazy this week, and I hope my lawn doesn't start growing again. I haven't had to mow my lawn since like mid June.
Wow.
It's been great. But no car yet. So update on that. No car yet.
Okay.
We
Right.
we have a massive show, so pretty much let's just leave it at that. We'll give better updates in the next few weeks as things calm down, as we have a little bit less to talk about, as we won't have some thoughts and final criticisms due on the Cubs, along with updates on those playoffs in the MLB. We also have our power rankings and NFL talk. Rich, what else do we have for the show today?
Well, Mike, we got to give our NHL predictions. Probably our first of probably three times bringing up the NHL on our show,
Yeah.
as we typically only touch on them preseason, the All Star break, and around the Stanley Cup Finals before that starts.
Yeah.
And Mike, I got to give a little bit of a rebuttal to those comments that you made when you were on your soapbox last week on those Chicago Bears. So hopefully, but I think it'll be a good discussion.
Good.
It'll be a good discussion, Mike.
Always
all
is.
that and more. But what do we got to do first?
We gotta roll the intro. Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich. And we're back. Okay, before we get in any quicker, let's go with our poll
bonus
question. Yeah. So this week we had "We Are the Champions," which was your bonus, like, last minute thing to come in and put it.
And you put it up against Sweet Caroline. I didn't update the outline there, so it was Sweet Caroline, and we are the champions.
Yeah, man. There were lots of votes on this one, Rich.
All right. If I remember correctly, I went with Sweet Caroline just based off of if the song came on the radio, which one would I want to hear? And it'd be Sweet Caroline over We Are the Champions.
Okay, so you voted for it. Solomon Stroop voted for it. Pam Hendricks voted for it. Eisenstrup voted for it. Your wife voted for it. Chad Mikos voted for it. Nathan Ross and Clifton Harmon Jr. all voted for, and you and I all voted for Sweet Caroline.
Did We Are the Champions get any votes?
It did. It got two. Mikey O'Roderer and Danielle Hart.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for voting on that. Mike, if I remember correctly, we had a comment on the
We
poll.
did. The
Can you
comment.
give that comment shout out?
I gotta get to that comment shout out real quick. It was Solomon Stroop, but just I wanna read it correctly because we try to honor that. Solomon Stroop, I will never vote for anything less than Sweet Caroline. Ba ba ba.
All right.
If you didn't know,
Just a
he's also a
reminder.
massive Neil Diamond fan.
All right, just a reminder, folks, that if you do comment on our polls and it's appropriate or related to the poll, we'll give you the comment shout out, as well as if you like or give a reaction to it too. We'll do reaction shout outs too.
Okay.
Just like we do on the live feed. So folks, I'm really not. Me and Mike really haven't had a chance to kind of workshop what our next whole showdown will be. We've got a framework for it.
I think we got it, and I have the first matchup: Cinnamon Toast Crunch versus Golden Grams.
Okay, so we're gonna go with the cereal showdown. I was
well. We're gonna do. We're gonna do. Oh, okay. You want? I was thinking it would all be under breakfast foods.
No.
So we would do a big old cereal showdown, and then we'd do a big old breakfast food showdown, and then we'd slowly bring them together, and the champion would be the champion of breakfast. So this week would be cereal. Next week will be a breakfast food. The weekend after will be cereal, and then a breakfast food.
Okay, all right. I'll go with it. So I'll make it cereal this time, and you want Cinnamon Toast Crunch and Golden Grams.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I figure you go with a number 1 seed versus a number 16 seed, right?
I don't know. I don't know where to rank. I don't. I have a list of cereals. I did not rank them in orders.
I'm just saying, Cinnamon Toast Crunch is a number 1 seed. Anybody that wants to argue that, I think they're the number 1 overall seed, but I will concede that there's things like Reese's Puff cereals. That's hard to beat. And Golden Grams, I always thought was terrible. I was never a fan, so I put them as a 16 seed. Or what?
There's more than 16 seeds, Mike.
Oh yeah, I figured.
If you saw it, but we'll make that this week's poll. So we'll go with the cereal showdown, and next week we'll pick 2 breakfast entrees.
Yep.
From
we're doing entree. Oh, we're gonna have to dig deep for some of these entrees.
Well, think of it like this, Mike. Just think of it maybe like French toast or biscuits and gravy, for example.
Oh man, see that's 2 number 1 seeds right there.
I know. You're gonna have tough as an example. That doesn't mean that's going to be the matchup.
Yeah. Okay.
You got time to plan that. All right, Mike. So real quick, almost.
Yeah, let's do it.
Two quick hits. To start off the show, NHL. As we said in the beginning, we really don't talk much on the NHL, but we do try and give you predictions. So we're just going to go division by division and give you who we think is going to win the entire thing when it's all said and done. So, Mike, the Atlantic Division.
I gotta hang on. I gotta find where I put that. I just had it up and I don't know where I have it at right now. Okay. So. I straight up lost it. I don't even know where it is anymore. Okay, let me give me a second, and I will get one because I have my list up. I don't even know. Okay, you give me your Atlantic, and I hopefully will get there by the time.
Okay, so my best guess with the Atlantic Division is the Boston Bruins. I think even if they maybe don't win the division, they will at least have a good enough record to at least qualify for the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Toronto Maple Leafs here.
Okay.
I did a little research.
I did not.
So
I'm going off of name recognition and what little history I can remember about past playoff appearances.
Out of the Metropolitan, I went with the Hurricanes.
I like their Hurricanes pick. They seem to be they've been good for an extended period of time here recently, but I kind of want to be different than you, so I'm going to go with the Philadelphia Flyers.
Okay, and then where are you going out of the Central?
I'm going to go with the Minnesota Wild.
Okay, I like that. I am going to pick the Avalanche.
I like that pick as well, and might be the Pacific Division.
The only team that I think, honestly, I don't understand how anybody picks against them this year, as I'm going to go with the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
All right, I'm gonna be different. If just for the sake of being different, I'm gonna go with the Vancouver Canucks.
Okay, I am going to put the Knights over the Devils as my Stanley Cup Finals.
I will go with the Bruins over the Minnesota Wild. So we'll check back
Okay.
in and see how these badly or good these predictions are going around the All Star break for the NHL. So next week, Mike, make sure to have in mind or have it put into the predictions workbook the 8 playoff teams that will make the 8 teams from the NBA Western and Eastern conferences that will make the playoffs.
Who cares?
That'll be on next week's.
Okay.
All right, Mike, going over from the frozen ice and going out to the baseball.
I think you froze a little bit, Rich. Yep, I think he froze. Okay, there he is.
Yep.
He's back.
Yeah, before we go on and talk about the Cubs. All right, Mike. So we have the American League Division Series between the Astros and the Twins. You had picked the Twins as one of your teams going into the ALCS. They got knocked out by Houston 3-1.
Yep.
Over on the other side of the bracket from the American League, it was the Texas Rangers and the Baltimore Orioles. I had picked that the Orioles would be one of my teams in the ALCS. I had them beating Houston, who made it, but those Orioles got swept by the Rangers 3-0, setting up your ALCS to be Houston against Texas. So all Texas, American League CS.
Let's go, President Bush.
All right. Over on the National League side, the Dodgers, the team that you picked, would be winning the entire thing.
I don't even know what's happening in baseball anymore.
Yeah, they got swept by the Diamondbacks 3-0. And over on the other side of the bracket, the Atlanta Braves, the team I picked to win the entire thing, lost to the Red Hot Fightin' Phils 3-1, setting up a National League Championship Series of Arizona and Philadelphia.
I don't understand baseball anymore. Like, how did these teams, man? I mean, I kind of thought, but so honestly, I picked the Twins partially because I think I made that prediction at the beginning of the year, if I remember correctly. And so I think I was holding to my original prediction. That was why I went that way.
All right, I can clarify that one. Your preseason prediction, Mike, was Yankees over the Guardians.
Yeah, that's right.
You had the flip because neither the Guardians or the Yankees made it.
Yeah, that's right. But I had. I don't remember.
But obviously, you said that you did not. Obviously, you didn't want to see the Astros win.
Oh yeah.
So.
Ugh. Sorry, man.
Yeah. So, Mike, if anything, you put the Phillies into the National League Championship Series, but you had them losing. I put the Astros into the American League Championship Series, but had them losing.
Yeah.
So if you had a choice with these 4 teams left, we won't write it down, what would be your ideal matchup? So who's going to match up with the Rangers? I know you're not going to pick Houston.
Ideally, I would like to see... Man, I don't know that I want to see Philly. Yeah, I think Philly and Philly and the Texans, the Rangers, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning that way too. I'm kind of leaning that way as well. I mean, I think
my boss would want me to say the Diamondbacks, but I mean the Diamondbacks are the hot team.
And so are the Phillies.
Yeah, the Phillies
and
are
so
pretty
are the
hot,
Rangers. And the Astros, whether you do. whether you love them or hate them. In your
They're
case,
cheating somehow
They have a veteran. They have a lot of guys on that team that know how to win in the postseason.
by cheating.
Whatever you say, Mike.
Altuve's still there, correct?
Yeah, he's still there.
When he won in 2016, in 2018, how did he win? It's just a trophy, Rich.
That question there, like,
it's just a trophy, Rich.
Okay. So one thing that came out of the Astros, at least making it to the American League Championship Series, is 7 straight years they have made it to the American League Championship Series.
They're really good at cheating.
If the cheating was never proven or never happened, would they be a dynasty? Or because they've only won 2 of those World Series out of those 7 years of getting into the World Series, would it be a dynasty?
They are a.
If you either look past the cheating, cheating,
I will give that they are a minor dynasty. They are not a full-fledged dynasty. They are a minor dynasty because they have only won 2.
Okay.
By cheating.
Okay. We'll just leave it at that because I think I'm not going to get you to
Rich,
go on up that they're cheating.
I'm just saying, in 2018, how did they win the World Series?
They didn't win in 2018. It was 2017.
Oh, sorry, 2017. Yeah, 2017. How did they win that World Series?
It was cheating.
Okay. So you take that out, and how many wins do they have in the World Series?
World Series.
Okay. One title out of 7 appearances. That's not a dynasty. I would take the, what was it, 2010 Giants? The Giants teams that did 2010, 2002,
okay.
or 12, 2014. That team, I feel, is more of a dynasty than this team. A dynasty has to win championships. And I'm sorry, I know that the commissioner doesn't see it as such, and I know that the record books don't see it as such, but I'm not giving them that one from 2017. And I don't care. So they've won 1. In order to be a dynasty, you have to win championships. How many and championships has an S at the end. And that S implies what, Rich?
Multiple championships.
How many have they won? Cleanly.
They have won. They've won 1.
And they took another. They stole another. Okay? So
by all means, I wasn't bringing this up as a debate. I just wanted to get an opinion. Are they a dynasty with what they've done?
What are your thoughts?
I gotta think that I can agree with your line of thinking as far as that it takes multiple championships.
And okay, do you give them would you give them the 2017 one? I want your honest opinion on this. Take out my thoughts. I don't care. What you think is what you think. I give you all the space to think whatever you want, Rich. If you were asked by somebody random, you're not talking to me. You're talking to Solomon right now. You and Solomon are just hanging out. I don't know why, but you are. Yeah. And he says, "Man, that 2017 Astros team, they were great. They won it all." Would you agree? Would you give them 2 championships on this?
I'll make it a half championship.
Okay.
Because there's an allegation of how much of the cheating did influence and impact the championship. How much cheating did they need to do to win that series in 7 games?
Okay. Either way,
I guess that's not.
I think it's a.
But yeah,
I don't think it's a full dynasty. I can't give them a full dynasty level. Even I think what they've done is great, and I honestly do appreciate like now that like the problem I have, and this is just again, and I hate bringing it back to 2017, but 2017 didn't come out until 2019 or 2020, right? Roughly.
Yeah.
And nobody analyzed 19. Nobody analyzed fully. In 20 was when it finally fully came out. But in 2019, 2018, nobody fully has analyzed those years to confirm whether or not they were using some of the cheating stuff. By the way, if they hadn't been caught, what makes you think that they would have stopped using it to get there? Like, so now we have to take. I would argue you have to take at least 2 years off, because it wasn't until 2019 when the investigation came out and they had admitted to it, right? In 2019, I think, is when it came out.
I think it was before the COVID series is when you had the punishments handed down to
nobody.
Lunau, with Lunau and the manager losing their jobs.
Right.
Losing their jobs, and the team and the ownership taking a fine.
That was the end of 2019, so that would have been 2020. So.
But yeah, you're right. Did anything get investigated further to see if it was happening during the 18 and 19 seasons?
So then we take 2 of those away. Now they've only gone 4 years in a row. By the way, that's a great feat. I'm not gonna take that away. One of them was the COVID year.
Okay.
So, and again, I'm just, if we break it down logically, right? Am I wrong in my thinking? This is what I'm asking.
No, okay.
So if we break it down,
I had no intention of making this go this long. It was just something that.
Yeah.
Just something that I wanted to get your opinion. Go ahead and finish your thoughts.
Then we'll go honestly, I'm trying to just process it. Like, do I where in it do I fall? And if I can't say that for certain that 17 we understand that that the accusations and the admittal was there. 18, we haven't done a full investigation on it, but knowing that they were doing it so prominently in 17, why would they have stopped before they got told they had to? So for me, it's 4 years in a row. That's amazing.
Sure.
That's a feat, especially in modern day baseball, when turnover and all the parity train happens so quickly. But again, I don't think they deserve to be called a dynasty. So let's move on.
Enough.
Rich, final thoughts on the 2023 season. I gave a little bit of a preview of mine, but let's go. And it's something I've said. I mean, everything I said last week is things that I've said for a while. Let's get some of your thoughts, and let's see if we can wrap up the 2023 season for the Chicago Cubs.
Yeah, based on what we thought, based on expectations, I would say that it was a successful year, as I think that we overachieved.
Yep.
I thought that we had them pegged for being third place in the division.
Yep.
And to be in a position to make the playoffs going into the final series of the year was great, was awesome. So I think it's successful.
I think this year...
I think I can agree with you a little bit on your thoughts on David Ross.
Yep.
Maybe not being the guy to take him to the next step. But at the same time, I don't know who that next manager is. I don't know if he's currently on the staff like Andy Green, or if it's Joe Girardi coming down from the broadcast booth or coming down from Marquee to to be the next manager. I think something still doesn't seem right, that maybe the game has passed Joe Girardi by when he was abruptly let go at the All-Star break from the Phillies, and then all of a sudden the interim manager takes them all the way to the World Series won, where they almost won. So that's what gives me a little bit of caution with bringing Joe Girardi down from the broadcast booth or from Marquee Network to take the bet to take on the managerial role.
I mentioned a name last week.
Okay.
About a guy who is not going to return to his team this year. And I wonder, is Showalter a good name for the Cubs?
Could be. I've always had that theory that you hire Buck Showalter to be the development guy, bring in discipline, and get your team ready, because he had 3 managerial stops.
Yep.
Where the season after he leaves, the team wins the World Series, as it happened with the Yankees and it happened with the Diamondbacks. However, that kind of fell off because the Orioles haven't won a World Series since he left, although they're set up pretty well right now. But if there were seasons apart from with Buck leaving, and the Mets, I don't know if the Mets are in a position to just turn around and win the World Series the next year now that he's gone.
Here's my thoughts on Buck.
Okay.
1, you bring him in to bring the discipline. What did we see a lot of lacking this year?
Discipline.
Plate discipline.
Discipline and probably in-game strategy was a downfall toward the end of the year. But I think injuries didn't help either.
What's Buck Showalter's strength, discipline, and in-game decision making? He instills that in his teams. 2, we are a fairly young team, and we need those trainings. I think this year, like, everybody's comparing this year because they did so much better than expectations to the 2015 year. I don't think we're there yet. Don't expect a World Series next year. And I think if you bring Buck Showalter in, what it does, allows you to take a couple of years of great development and then hand it over to a Joe Girardi, whoever, I don't care, to bring you over the finish line. I think we are 2 to 3 years out from being fully ready to make the big step. And that's why I think a guy like Buck Showalter would be great for us.
Okay. Not a bad idea.
So, signings.
So Mike, what are some things that what are some things that you think they need to address going into 24?
I think in the next month they need to sign Cody Bellinger.
Okay. Where are you going to play him?
Where am I not going to play him?
Okay.
What's wrong with center?
Pete Crow Armstrong.
Okay. Great in development, but here's the problem with that, and this is my argument, and this is why I kind of gave a warning that this might be a long show, folks. Paying Cody Bellinger, it's more than just getting a guy to play and getting a guy that's amazing. It says we're committed to this team. We're committed to making sure that this is a long-term opportunity and that we don't have to be the cheapest team to win a World Series. We don't need all of our guys to be first contract guys. It says that we're willing to open up our pocketbooks when we need to. Do I think Crow could be a great guy in development and could probably do as well, if not better. Sure. But you're not signing Cody Bellinger strictly to play in the outfield.
That's true, and I can understand that he can also play first base.
But I'm not even saying that. I'm also saying you bring him in for his experience. He's a great veteran. So, I'm sorry. I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let you give the rebuttal on that one.
I think I like the idea of Cody Bellinger, but you almost have to sell him and his agent, with Scott Boras, by the way, that you might be able to play a good portion of the year in center field this year. But once we get our top prospect, Pete Crow Armstrong, once he gets his footing in the major leagues, his Gold Glove caliber defense is going to be center field, and you're going to need to transition to first base. And it seems like, from what I've heard, Bellinger wants to play center field, not be a first baseman.
Yeah, he does. Oh, you froze again.
Even a Gold Glove one at that.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that signing him tells the rest of the guys on the team that you're going to get paid. Don't worry. So, but you're right. The Scott Boras thing is a problem. We're not going to see that happen.
Yeah. So that's what gives me a little bit of caution that if you sign Suzuki.
Yep.
If you sign Bellinger.
Okay.
Because you could say, yeah, sign Bellinger, we'll worry about where he plays in 25 and 26 and 27 later. Because unfortunately, well, maybe not unfortunately, with the way the Cubs decided with re-signing Ian Happ, which looks like looking good based on the year that he had, and having Seiya Suzuki locked in until through the 2026 season, you've got center field and DH as the two spots for two of your top prospects in Crow Armstrong and Alexander Chirino. Not to mention the other outfielders that are top prospects that could be working their way up to the major leagues.
Yeah, but prospects brings veterans. What is the best way to get a solid veteran in a mid to late side of his career traded to your team?
Yep, trading some of those prospects. I don't think everybody that's on like the top 10 prospects of the Cubs are going to be in Chicago.
By the way, the top 10
their major league debuts as Cubs.
By the way, the top 10 prospects for the Cubs are I think all of them are top 20 prospects in the league, if not top 30.
Yeah,
they are.
The common denominator there is they're either a starting pitcher or they're an outfielder.
Yeah,
there's no other positional versatility there.
But here's my thing though.
Go ahead.
I think for the Cubs, what they need is those starting pitchers. They need them to pan out.
I wouldn't want to give up the prospects that are on the pitching side.
So we're going to take the pitching prospects out, especially our starting pitching prospects, because our starting pitching, it pulled itself together this year, but man, there were times where
they ran out of gas in the middle of September.
That's the nicest way to put it. Yeah. So I wholeheartedly hope and expect that we will see the pitching prospects stay. But I agree we could get rid of some of those outfield prospects. Okay, Rich, these are your final thoughts on the Cubs 2023 season and what you'd like to see for 2024.
All right, for 24, I think the two holes that you got to address in the offseason would be at first base, which could be Cody Bellinger if you can convince him and Boris that here's the money, come be our everyday come be our everyday first baseman, or and especially and a starting pitcher, and probably remaking that bullpen, getting some
Yeah.
new veteran consistent arms in the bullpen.
Yep. So here's where I totally agree with you. And this is one of those things that I'm amazed at the way baseball is. Baseball, as much as the NBA is positionless, the MLB is agnostic to position. By that I mean your contract is not based on your position outside of pitching. For me, I think I'm amazed that first basemen don't make significantly more than outfielders, than second basemen, a little bit more than shortstops, slightly less than catchers, and slightly. Basically, your pitcher's number one, your catcher's number two. I think first base is number three when it comes to like the importance on your team. And you don't see that pay scale played out that way. You do see pitchers tend to get a little bit more. But catchers, first basemen, the rest of the position players are treated like, well, you can play anywhere. We're going to pay you the same because you're this. Yes, there are exceptions to the rule, but do you understand what I'm saying there?
A little bit.
Well, in major league in football, you pay your quarterbacks, you pay your offensive linemen, you pay like the pay scale is very evident, right, in each position. I'm surprised that baseball's not that way, and mostly that first base doesn't have kind of make a little bit more than outfielders especially. But I think the first baseman should be the third highest player on almost any team out there. That's just
And
my
on
opinion.
on some teams they are,
Right.
but others,
But many teams don't.
yeah, most teams
It's
don't.
it's basically what's the next superstar up that's going to get the $100 million, multi-$100 million contract, and then we're going to fill in around you. And it's agnostic to position at that point, if that makes sense. Anyway, so I think legitimately, if Cody Bellinger were to play first base, that he should be making more than if he was playing center field. But that's me.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what it would take
Yeah.
if you had to go to him and say, you know what, sometime in 2024 and at least 25, you're not going to be you're not going to be able to play in the outfield.
So I'm going to give my quick
Because
final thoughts.
go ahead.
Just because we need to wrap this up because we're at 38 minutes and we got a whole lot of show to talk about still. My thoughts on 2023. This is not 2015. Do not. Your expectation should be maybe vying for the play. Maybe what we did this year should be your expectations for next year. I would almost say making a wild card spot. That's it. Period. For next year. We are not in a we are ahead of schedule. We are not in a 2015 position. 2015, how far did we play into the season, Rich?
They lost in the NLCS.
Right.
Swept by the Mets.
Right. Wait, where did we play? How well are we doing in the playoffs this year, Rich?
We didn't make the playoffs.
That's right. We are not in the 2015 season.
So would you compare this team to maybe the 14 team?
Yeah, I think that's a fair comparison. But even that, I think there was the problem right now is that there's too many question marks. The 2014 team had you saw that starting rotation starting to come together, and you saw the core group of players making their way into the bigs, right?
Yep, but the going from 14 to 15, you had players that you knew were on the rise coming up.
Right.
You had Rizzo. Rizzo got his feet wet in 14, but really wasn't the established player that we all remember him as.
Right.
During that run, Bryant was coming up. I think Bryant was starting to work his way up the minors.
Yep. But the big
thing, yeah, you had traded for Addison Russell, but it was in 15 that's when you signed Jason Hayward and John Lester, and Joe Madden fell onto your lap.
Yep.
So there were a lot of good changes that happened going from 15 to 16.
And so if they make the right moves this offseason like they did in 15, 100% this could be a team that in a couple of years we're talking World Series. Right now, this is in the infancy. We gotta let it mature. 2024, what I want to see, like I said, Cody Bellinger being signed, but mostly development. And this is why I'm afraid that I don't know that Ross can take the team to the next level. That's the thing that scares me. But I guess that's what we got to do. Okay. Anything else before we move on and I ask you what you see coming up?
I do not. What's coming up, Mike?
It's a left turn, and after that, Rich?
It's another left turn, Mike.
Why is that, Rich?
Well, Mike, because we're going to go into the NASCAR corner presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois, down on 5th Avenue, and you can also find him on eBay.
Okay, Rich.
Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. So, Mike, last week we were at the Charlotte Roval for the Bank of America Charlotte Roval.
And
Mike,
neither
who was the race winner.
Rich, I am shocked. Most of the last few years, every time we're on a road course, and especially these Roval type courses, you and I always pick this guy, and this time neither one of us picked him. AJ Allmendinger, neither one of us picked him, even though he had been a guy that we both had picked regularly for these road courses and Rovals. Rich, I picked William Byron. He ended up at 2nd. And then I picked Daniel Suarez, ending up at 33rd. You, however, picked Tyler Reddick, which means I got 1 point for the playoff drivers. And then you got 1 point with Chase Elliott in 9th. Rich, this week, I hold my lead that I took 2 weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
And am now at 22-20 overall for the season and 9-3 in the playoffs. Rich, real quick, cutoff is this weekend?
No, they have one more race.
Oh, that's right.
As this round is the Roval is the cutoff round, so we're now into the 3rd round.
We're in the Elite 8, as it were. And with that, Who are our playoff drivers, Rich?
All right. Well, below the cutoff line is Ryan Blaney in the 8th spot, Tyler Reddick at 7, Christopher Bell at 6, and Chris Buescher at 5. So going into the playoff race at Vegas, above the cut line are Larson, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., and William Byron.
Yep. And
so your driver is still alive,
yep,
as your preseason and post playoff race prediction of Denny Hamlin to win it all is still alive. My pick was eliminated last week as Ross Chastain. I think he pretty much needed to win the race to be able to move on to the next round.
Pretty sure.
Couldn't do it alone in points, and it just didn't work out.
Okay.
All right, Mike. So going into Las Vegas, you had the honors of making the first choice of both drivers. Since you gave me the honors, regardless of where where the drivers finished last week.
Okay.
So, Mike, who are your 2 drivers?
I'm going to pick the duo of Kyles. I'm going to pick Kyle Larson and Kyle Busch. Those that everybody hates.
Not a bad choice. Larson's done pretty well on these types of tracks, and it's Bush's home track.
Yep.
So not a bad choice. Both those guys are in my fantasy lineup. But I'm going to go with two other drivers that are in my fantasy lineup, and I'm going to go Denny Hamlin and Ross Chastain.
We all know you're voting for Ross Chastain more than Denny Hamlin.
I am. I don't know why it is that I don't like Denny Hamlin, but I need some points, so I got to let my unknown hatred or dislike of Denny Hamlin aside so that I can get some points.
Perfect. Okay. Rich, this has been the NASCAR Corner, presented by Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated, Moline, Illinois. Check them out on 5th Avenue for all your sports memorabilia needs, or on their eBay store. Once again, that is Triple I Sports Cards Incorporated. Rich, let's peel off the racetrack and head to the gridiron as you have some comments for me. Last week, I will remind the people, last week I said that what the Bears need to do is no matter what happened on Thursday night last week, we should have seen a firing of our head coach. Also, we should have, by the end of the season, gotten rid of the GM and basically let Justin Fields see what free agency is like. Rich, I turn it over to you.
Yeah, I was kind of cringing on that a little bit when I heard your soapbox comments. Because by all means, even if you factor in the win in Washington, being 1-15 is a 1-14 is a tough pill to swallow. As going into Landover, Maryland, they were on a 14-game losing streak under Eberflus. So, but your comment of regardless of how that game went, win, lose, or tie, he should have been let go. My question to you is, who would be stepping up to coach the team? Because typically, you don't have an outside hire come in mid-season as an interim coach.
I'd call you, Rich. You're right. I don't have an answer for that other than it sends a message to the team that this is not the direction we want to go.
Yeah, and that's fair, but you still need somebody that has some sort of veteran coaching presence, that either a veteran coach, even if he's a positional coach, or a former head coach to take on that position, and the Bears just don't have that on their staff.
And I will join your rebuttal in it with your question brings up the topic that says if you did that, you're basically tanking at that point, right? I mean,
yeah.
If you're handing the keys over to nobody, you're letting your team go tanking.
Yeah. So could they get better results than under Eberflus? Maybe, but I don't think they would. I think it would be worse. We'd be seeing worse football. So I would just, by all means, we talk about what the hot seat. Eberflus's hot seat. It's really, really warm. It's not the your car heated seat hot. It's burning right now. I'd say he's gonna have to do a really, really drastic turnaround to save his job for next year, if that's even possible.
Draft option.
Draft option, yeah. But as far as the GM, I think I would give the GM one more chance, one more coaching hire.
Okay.
Before he's also shown out the door.
You have on here coaching staff, draft Justin Fields. That's the notes you gave us.
I know. With the draft, I think regardless of whether you think that Justin Fields is the answer or not, I think that you almost gotta build through the trenches and draft the best available pass rusher and the best available offensive tackle.
We're gonna get to our power rankings in just a minute. But the worst two teams in the league right now, we have those draft picks.
You do.
You're gonna use the first two draft picks to not pick up what is being touted as the next generational quarterback?
If he comes out of college. If he comes out of college.
Right. And if I were him, I wouldn't come out of college. I wouldn't let the Bears draft me because the Bears destroy quarterbacks.
Exactly. Which is why what I would do with Justin Fields is I would give him the Tua Tagovailoa treatment with what the Dolphins did with him and pick up his 5th-year option.
Make
instead
him
of
learn
signing him.
jiu-jitsu?
Make him prove it. Make him prove it.
Okay.
That he's the long-term answer.
Yeah, but Tua's going to die on the field at some point. He's going to get hit and his brain's going to stop working. Like, I'm not trying to say that in a bad way, but man, I'm scared.
That's just my opinion on what to your soapbox of blow it up and start all over.
Can I
and start all over?
I don't disagree with the coaching staff question mark. You're 100% right. I think the reason you do it that early is you say, hey, players, and maybe you're even saying to Justin Fields, coaching staff was in your head. We want to make this right. We want to get you to a point where you can play the way you want to play. We're going to find somebody to work with you. Maybe that's the reason why you fire Eberflus right now. If you think Justin Fields is your guy for the next few years. Okay? That's why I would do it, actually.
Okay.
If Justin Fields isn't your quarterback, then why do you care about bringing in somebody now or whenever to make anything work? Okay, let's move on as we shall to but the rest of it, the draft stuff, that's what I said they need to do this year, and we thought they did. They legitimately got some great offensive linemen, some great defensive players. And what do we have to show for it so far, Rich?
1 win.
Okay. So if you're saying you have to develop through the trenches, what did they do with the draft? We traded down to be out of where it would be unusual for us to start taking trench guys. And we took a few trench guys. Yeah, some people would argue we probably should have picked up some wide receivers. Maybe, but our wide receiving core seems to be doing all right. By the way, Justin Fields is actually one of the top 10 or 11 ranked quarterbacks when you look at his personal stats. I don't think those guys are the problem. And I agree with you that it is the trenches, but they tried to do that this year. Why did they fail so bad? That's what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah. Okay, let's move on from the Bears we'll talk about them in just a second. Some other stuff about them. But first, let's get into Week 5 coverage and then give our pick'em shout-outs.
Oh, you're going to do the Week 5 coverage first. Okay, I see what you're going there. All right, so locks of the week. So, Mike, I went with the Dolphins over the Giants. The Dolphins won 31-16, improving my mark to 3-2. Mike, you went with the Bills over the Jaguars, and that lot got picked as the Jaguars won 25-20. And Mike, if I was on the air and recording with you, I probably would have tried to talk you out of that one because I think you overlooked the fact that game was in London. And the Jaguars were already in London, so they did not have the travel. They did not have to worry about the travel and the jet lag for that game.
Totally forgot about it. I totally did. That's my bad.
All right, Mike, how'd the upsets go?
In the upsets, you picked the Jets over the Broncos. I don't know how they called that an upset, but you pulled that one out, and I don't think that was really an upset, as the Broncos are terrible. Moving you to the Jets won 32-21, moving you to 4-1 on the season. I picked the Vikings over the Chiefs. I'm sure I got a lot of people wondering why I picked that and thought that was stupid. But then I said, I don't care. And the Vikings.
Was a lot closer game.
Yeah, the Vikings showed up, but still lost 27-20, bringing my record to 2-3. And then for Thursday Night Football, we both took the Chiefs because why wouldn't you with how the Broncos are looking? That game looked a lot closer than I thought it would, and the Chiefs won 19-8, bringing me to 4-2 on the season, and you to 5-1.
Yep.
Rich.
Yeah, so, Mike, I do got to give you some props on that Jets-Broncos game. As I recall that you said that the Jets would score at least one or maybe even two defensive touchdowns. And it was a Russell Wilson strip sack that was the difference maker. A strip sack that got taken in for a touchdown.
Yep.
That was one of the decisive scores that got the Jets that victory.
Yeah, because it's not the Jets offense winning them games.
On that one, Mike.
Okay, let's look at our play for this week. Let me pull it up.
All right. While you're looking there, Mike, our pick'em shout out of the week is we only had one person was our top performer, as our shout out goes to Troy, who won the week with 10 correct picks.
Yeah.
Mikey,
Overall standings, we have Troy in first, Zach Borcher in second, Rich, you're in third, Captain Roy is in fourth, Fields of Dreams is in fifth, I'm in sixth. I had a pretty terrible week with 9, but then again, nobody did great this week.
I only got 7 last week.
Yeah. And then Mr. Nichols bringing up the rear with 7. Yeah. And then guess what I forgot to do this week, Rich?
You forgot to pick. Did you forget the Thursday night game?
I forgot to put the Thursday night game in.
Oh, you're already down 1 point.
Yep.
All right, Mike.
I would have picked him too.
Yeah. All right, Mike. So going into week 6, it's you have the honor since I had it last night. So, Mike, who's your lock of the week?
My lock of the week is the Eagles over the Jets. Yeah. That's enough said.
Yep. I'm going to go with the 49ers over the Browns. Deshaun Watson isn't playing in this game. So they're going to have a
good riddance to bad rubbish.
So they're going to have a hard time moving the ball with or without. But even with Watson on the field, I think I still would have said the Niners as a lock with as well as they're playing.
Yep.
Mike, who's on upset alert?
I look at the Texans over the Saints. Texans are playing better than I thought they would. C.J. Stroud looking good. So, yeah, look for the Texans over the Saints.
All right, I'm going to take the Seahawks over the Bengals just because although it seems like Burrow and the Bengals are coming into form, the Seahawks are still playing really well.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take them. Mike, the Bears will welcome in the Vikings to come into Chicago. So who are you picking?
I picked them at the beginning of the season. I think they're going to start. This is going to be the key game that helps them right the ship. The Vikings are going to win.
I'm going to go with the Bears in this one.
Okay.
I got a gut feeling. I think I'm going to ride the momentum coming off of the Commanders win. That I think the Bears, without Justin Jefferson in the lineup, I think that the Bears can get the win here.
Okay.
Thursday night football, Mike. We'll see the Jaguars go down to New Orleans. Who's going to win the game?
I'm going to take the Jags on this one. I don't know why.
All right, I'm going to take the Jaguars as well.
Okay.
They just seemed going out to London was a good trip for them to right the ship, and I think they can keep it going.
Okay.
So, Mike, where are we at on time to see if we have enough time for power rankings?
58 minutes. It's also 22 minutes to midnight, and we both have a drive tomorrow.
Yeah, let's go into the Masked Singer.
Okay.
Let's go into our quick.
Spoiler alert. We will be spoiling Masked Singer for 2 weeks in a row. I kind of spoiled it for Rich a little bit yesterday, accidentally, but I think I covered my tracks good enough.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert. Okay, so Rich, let's go 2 weeks ago. And let us know who was the Masked Singer unmasked.
Yeah. So The individual unmasked was the diver,
Yep,
who ended up being Tom. Was it Sandoval?
I think so.
Who I guess is a DJ or reality star that's best known from Vanderpump
Yeah,
Rules.
Tom Vanderson, Tom Sandoval. Yeah,
Sandoval,
I
yeah.
don't know him real well, but sure.
I don't know him either. I did find it kind of ironic that as soon as he got unmasked and left The Masked Singer, they started promoting how he was on another Fox reality show, The Toughest Competition, where B-list celebrities go through a version of what they're coining as special forces training.
Yeah,
So it's kind of ironic. And this week, Mike, who was voted off?
man. This week was Michael Rappaport, aka the Pickle.
The Pickle.
Um, yeah, he was the weakest one. Like honestly, these four have been amazing. I
They
have
really have. It's going to be tough if
yeah
two people, if the Group A finals, if it's only one moves on, it's going to be tough.
yeah I oh I'm not sure who of the group that's left that I want to win. Like I like all of them.
So, of their comparing, doing their entire body of work over the past 3 weeks, who has been, as always, a Mass Singer with using the Mass Singer rules of who has been your favorite performer?
Marshmallow. The
Yeah,
s'mores.
I like the s'more too. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
I've enjoyed the s'more more. I was surprised that he went to the showdown,
Yeah,
the showdown with the pickle.
I totally was too. So, okay, and then Rich, we did so with that quick esports update. We
Hmm.
should be within a week having our store go on sale. If you're all right with it, I will put it in the show description next week. So anybody that would like to purchase merchandise for that, it's going to look kind of like this. We're going to have it on a couple different colors. We're going to have a nice maroon color, maroon wave. We're going to have black, and then we're going to have a black hoodie and a maroon hoodie, and then we're going to have stocking caps and baseball caps. Mostly,
Gotcha.
I ordered the baseball caps so that I could, wear the baseball caps all day.
Yeah,
But
that's fair. All right, Mike. Before we give our
oh, and
personal
we
shout
won, by
outs,
the way.
and you won. Good. So you're going to state.
We're not guaranteed to state yet. We have two more matches, but
Okay.
um, we're the number one ranked team in the state right now in our division.
Nice. Nicely done.
Yeah.
All right, Mike. Before we give personal shout outs, if
I see no show
personal
shout
shout
outs.
no show shout outs. Okay.
Okay. I forgot to give your wife a happy birthday last week.
You did. I was kind of surprised by that. But
I
it's okay.
felt terrible. I totally, yeah. But happy birthday, Amy. Or if you want to really give her some support, go over to her Dino Budgets page and just smash the like button on all of the videos. Watch all of the videos. Let them play in the background. And send her reminders that you're out there and watching her.
Yeah. Always good day. And I guess for my shout out, I'm going to have to go with a congratulations and a good luck at the state cross country meet to my nephew Brady.
Nice.
He ran his way onto the state team as he was not selected to run at sectionals, but the coach had a scrimmage earlier this week to determine who would be the runners for state, and he made the cut. So
Nice.
we're going down to Bloomington Normal. Tomorrow, rain or shine, to cheer him on at state tomorrow.
Yeah, our cross country junior high kids go down to Ankeny tomorrow for theirs. So, okay, with that, Rich, people are watching us on Facebook, but you know what? They'd like to take us in the car. How should they do it?
Just look up Balls and Sticks wherever you find your other podcasts.
By the way, Google Podcasts is no longer a thing. Just a heads up.
Oh, it isn't?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I guess you can find us at least on iHeart, Apple, Spotify, to name a few.
Yep.
And Mike, if they're listening to us in podcast land, give them the 2 spaces where they can find the video feed of our show.
So first, if you want to watch us live or you want to participate in our poll question, jump over to facebook.com/ballsandsticks or facebook.com/fans of balls and sticks. You can find us there anytime. Also, if you want to watch us but you don't have Facebook, jump on to facebook.com or to youtube.com balls and sticks. We are up to 10 subscribers now. I got us a 10th subscriber. Welcome to Deacon. You know who you are. Okay, with that, Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, go ahead and roll that outro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.